We'll meet the artists featured in Artistic Expressions from Within.
We'll check out the 2020 African American ReadIn.
And we'll meet Austin-based artist Joemings.
All this and more coming up About Town.
Hello everyone, and welcome to About Town. I'm Stephanie Dixon.
And I'm Kathy Whiteman, and I am so thrilled to have Stephanie back. You haven't been back for almost a year.
Has it been that long?
I think it has been almost that long. So tell us, give us a little handicap of what have you been up to?
Well, I'm in the process of semi-retiring from doing hair. I've been doing hair for 32 years, and so I'm scaling it down. I'm actually going to go into substitute teaching.
Oh, okay.
I love kids. I just love them, and so I really kind of want to do that, but I'm just kind of like just going into the next chapter of my life.
Well,
and
congratulations, absolutely. So a little bird told me that you've got something coming up in July. I won't ask you about it now, but I will ask you to come back so you can tell us about it.
I sure will.
That's wonderful. Glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
That you could join us for the details on Beyond Bollywood at the Irving Archives and Museum.
And we'll also get you ready for the Texas Steel Guitar Jamboree, and we'll have news on Night of Promise, benefiting Family Promise of Irving.
As always, we'd love to hear your feedback. Let us know about a community event you'd like to promote on the show or a story you'd like to see.
You can email us at ictn@cityofirving.org or connect with us on social media. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you.
The Irving Black Arts Council featured 7 talented local artists in their exhibit, Artistic Expressions from Within. Susan Stevens talked with each of them at the opening reception to learn more about their work.
The Irving Arts Center hosts Irving Black Arts Council's annual Black History Month exhibition with the theme, Artistic Expressions from Within. The exhibit features the work of 7 talented local women. Some artists focus on American history and culture.
This piece today tells a story about African Americans' lives lost due to systematic oppression. So within this piece, I actually used symbols from Mali, Nigeria, Ghana. So just things that I was inspired by African cloths, just to explain this story.
The Janet Jackson piece, I grew up off listening to her, and I'm like, let me draw a Janet Jackson piece. And I found an old picture of her and decided to do it. I use chalk, I use false eyelashes, I use glitter and feathers.
This is called MOA. This means Mother of All. And as you can see, there's a baby, she's breastfeeding, and the baby has the American flag, South African flag, Indian flag, Europe, China, Mexico. She's just the mother of all nations.
It's based off of a 18th century edict that took place in Louisiana under Spanish colonization. And so the Towne edict was forcing free women of color to wear head wraps while in public as a way to oppress them. And so the free women of color, use their means as their freedom and their economic stability to be able to purchase a variety of different silks and fabrics and accessories. And they recreated these turbans into like fashionable statements. And so it was meant to be a tool for oppression, but they use it as a way to empower them.
Others focus on personal experiences and relationships.
This is what we have here, Kissed by the Sun. That's by Reveal piece. And I decided to come up with it because it revealed everything that art has been to me in my journey, to like go on this journey and grow and then just find out who I am and what I like to do. And from this, I've learned that I like to do abstract art. So the majority of the art that you'll see here is abstract. It has a little stylized and colorful. It's all these things that make me who I am.
It's called Dear Daughter, and it's a painting that I did of me and my daughter. My daughter just went away to college about 2 years ago. So I wanted to do a painting to kind of commemorate like my relationship with her. My husband photographed us for this painting. Most of the paintings are done from either photographs that I take myself, or I'll get my husband to photograph me and use it in the painting.
This is a portrait of one of my twins. He's 6 years old, and because he's a twin, I've represented him here as a butterfly, and I've included his brother. So there are 2 butterflies here representing both of them.
All of their artwork has deep meaning, and they are honored to be recognized.
It means a lot to be a Black woman here, having my art be seen, because it isn't as represented in a lot of the galleries and museums. So it's a rare opportunity, but one of the best I've been in.
These artists value the opportunity to be celebrated and hope to reach others through their art.
I want to be able to share just my journey with the world and to help people experience their purpose through art.
It's a way to bring people together. There are conversations that I'm having with my family that we'd never talked about before, just because, you know, the artwork has inspired them to ask questions that they never asked before.
Art is just a way to express and narrate various stories and share with others.
For About Town, this is Susan Stevens.
Artistic Expressions from Within, the Irving Black Arts Council's 2020 Black History Month exhibition continues through March 1st in the Irving Art Center main gallery.
The African American Read-In at the South Irving Library was a celebration of culture, literacy, and inclusion. Susan Stevens has a story.
The Bandan Coro African Drum and Dance Ensemble are performing at the South Irving Library for the One World Many Tales African American Read-In.
They're going to perform midway the program, and then we have steppers. They're 4th and 5th graders from Thomas Haley Elementary School. And we also have youth from the youth group at Ben Washington Baptist Church here in Irving also. They'll be reading.
The performances spotlight African American dance and music, while the readers showcase African American children's literature.
They live in Compton, a real tough, sometimes scary part of Los Angeles.
In the first half, the books that are featured are books related to history. And we're going to focus on James Vanderzee, a photographer that lived back during the Harlem Renaissance. And so he took pictures during that time in Harlem. And also Lena Horne. We have a book that features her and the Williams sisters.
The event highlights books that sometimes go unnoticed, and at one point was non-existent.
When I was little, I didn't have any books with African Americans in them, and I'm so happy that we do have them now, because I have grandkids that love and enjoy them. So I know that anybody of any ethnicity reading those books will enjoy them too.
Representation is important, especially at a young age. Children begin to identify with what they're reading and seeing. Subconsciously, it can shape our confidence.
When I was a little girl, I had only white dolls. And when I was only 7, I took all my mom's brown magic markers and I tried to make them brown, and they were orange. And I just wanted something that looked like me. So I think it's important to see yourself in literature in a positive light so that you can feel good about yourself.
The Jesse Owenses, the Jordans, the Kobes, and the LeBrons.
The African American Read-In reflects on inspirational heroes and events while promoting a love for books and culture. For About Town, this is Susan Stevens.
Up next for the Irving Public Library, the North Texas Teen Book Festival, March 7th at the Irving Convention Center in Las Colinas. To learn more about this exciting event and other great activities sponsored by Irving Libraries, visit cityofirving.org/1054.
There is another great exhibit at the Irving Archives and Museum.
And they've partnered with Think India Foundation to generate even more excitement.
Jen Landry and Shraddha Daria join us with the details. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm so excited. The museum hasn't even opened yet, and you're just going full steam ahead.
Yes.
I love that.
Non-stop.
So, tell us what the name of this new exhibit is and what we can expect to see.
So our new exhibit, a temporary exhibit, is Beyond Bollywood, and that is from the Smithsonian Institution. exhibition. So that's part of our Smithsonian affiliate programs. This is one of the traveling exhibitions that travels the country. And Beyond Bollywood, as its title implies, talks about the contributions of Indian Americans beyond our stereotypical Bollywood impressions of what India is, and looks at how the history of Indian Americans in this country, immigration, their fights for social justice for all people, as well as their contributions, thinking about yoga and food and culture, and just helps us to kind of expand our horizon. And there's such a rich culture of Indian Americans in Irving, it was just a perfect fit.
It is, it's wonderful, and it's so fortunate that we've got this kind of diversity in town, and to have an opportunity to really explore it in ways that we haven't explored it before is really great.
Awesome. So Shraddha, how is the Think India Foundation working with the museum to expand the experience to the community?
So we worked with Irving Arts Center previously for 3 years, and this opportunity came up through an art grant that we wrote, and Todd and Jennifer were really excited to bring this alongside. So once we found that opportunity, we were really excited to get on board.
So I heard rumors about this great mystery theater thing that sort of kicked off the event, and then you're just continuing through the month of March. Give us an idea of some of the other things that are going to be happening.
Yeah, so we have a lot of different activities that you've never seen around here, like yoga, nutrition, Ayurveda. We also have some fun activities like art workshops that are in March, painting with chocolate, some Indian arts you've never seen like Rangoli. We have hip-hop, Bollywood hip-hop dance classes. We have some folk style, so a lot of activities at the center every weekend.
That is so exciting. Really so exciting. So I think you've got a question.
Yes, so Jan, how is your partnership enhancing the Beyond Bollywood exhibit?
So part of what Think India Foundation and Shraddha in particular have done has complemented the Beyond Bollywood exhibit with textiles, art, and costumes and discussions of dance, of the various cultural elements of India. There's also a community art show. We have over 90 works of art from local artists looking at Indian culture in the exhibit. And so that just really helped expand the contribution that we could make for the exhibition beyond just the Beyond Bollywood exhibit. And then the programming that they're helping with, they're doing most of the work for us, which makes us very happy as museum people. And it's just such fabulous, rich cultural programming, and we're really excited to be bringing that to South Irving.
Absolutely. Awesome. I'm so excited about this exhibit, truly. So, but we've got to wrap up. But before I let you go, would you kind of tell us where we are status-wise with the museum?
So we are open Wednesday through Sunday now. We just completed our first full weekend open. We had our first school group tour of 150 fifth graders from Brandenburg Elementary last Friday, and they were a fabulous group. I have to give them a shout out because they were such a good group of kids. And so the permanent exhibit is in what we call soft opening phase. So almost everything is complete. We're just doing a lot of tweaking and things like having a school tour come through. We see the things we need. Oh, we need to improve this, or we need to make this more clear. And then the media elements are going to be coming in the next couple months, and we're looking at a May 15th grand opening.
Wow.
So.
Well, I'll have to get you to come back so that we can promote that
Absolutely.
as well. I'm excited about that. This wonderful exhibit, Beyond Bollywood, continues through April 11th, and there are fabulous activities happening every weekend through the end of March. For more details on Beyond Bollywood, visit irvingartscenter.com. Disney Pixar's sibling road trip movie Onward takes two brothers on a journey to reunite their father's top half with his bottom half. Now that sounds crazy even for an animated film, right? But Susan says don't discount this one before you see it, especially if you like movies with a lot of laughs and a lot of heart.
In times of old, the world was full of wonder and magic. But times change.
I'm a mighty warrior!
Morning, Mom!
Disney Pixar's newest film, Onward, reunites Spider-Man and Star-Lord. Except in this film, Tom Holland and Chris Pratt live in a suburban fantasy world as brothers Ian and Barley Lightfoot. On the day of Ian's 16th birthday, the boys are given a gift from their late father. Turns out it's a spell that will bring their dad back to life for 24 hours.
Spell brings him back. For one whole day, Dad will be back.
What? Back like back to life? That's not possible.
It is with this.
I'm gonna meet Dad.
But the spell doesn't go exactly as planned. Both boys are eager to see their father's top half, but for younger brother Ian, it's a chance to finally meet his dad. Barley knows how much rides on this, and he's determined to help Ian. They hit the road in a broke-down van and go on a dangerous journey.
Rich Rigor Infisia!
Hey, you can do this.
Believe with every step.
I'll admit, before going into this screening, I had my doubts. At first glance, this seems like a possibly boring, one disaster after another road trip that will end predictably. It's safe to say, I was wrong. The film's 2-hour runtime flies by through its dry humor and exciting sequences. Oftentimes, I was kept on the edge of my seat, and it's easy to get invested in this journey and root for a successful mission. All the actors do a wonderful job voicing these characters, but Octavia Spencer stands out as the fiery manticore. And Pratt and Holland pull off a natural brotherly relationship by going back and forth between bonding moments and driving each other nuts.
Elbows up. I'm trying to focus here.
Though this is a film about a son seeking a relationship with his father, it also recognizes those in our lives who unexpectedly became father figures and shaped us into the people we are today. Onward may not be one of the best Pixar films, but it's a pretty good one. The script offers something fresh, funny, and heartwarming. And don't be surprised if you shed a few tears. This is the first must-see of 2020, and it's one for the whole family. For About Town, this is Susan Stevens.
Onward is currently playing at AMC Irving Mall, Alamo Drafthouse Cinema, Las Colinas, and Fun Movie Grill, MacArthur Marketplace. The 36th annual Texas Steel Guitar Jamboree is coming up soon.
Joan Cox joins us with the details.
Joan, thank you so much for being here today. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Now, you shared with me that you've been a part of the Texas Steel Guitar Jamboree for 30 of its 36 years.
I sure have. I go every year.
You know something pretty important about this thing.
It's part of my life. I always go every year.
Great. Yeah. So for folks who aren't familiar with the organization, with the TSGA and the Jamboree, tell us a little bit about it.
Okay. The Texas Steel Guitar Association is an organization that promotes steel guitar and steel guitar music. And each year, this will be our 36th year of having our jamboree, and it's usually a 3 or 4 day event, usually the second week of March each year, and it's coming up March 12th through the 15th. And if you like steel guitar, or you're curious about the instrument, or maybe want to learn something about it, or interested in learning to play, that is the place to be that weekend at the Sheridan DFW.
It sure sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so what is a typical day at the Jamboree like?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. In the main hall, you will hear, I think there's probably 50-some players on the show this year.
Wow.
We start Thursday evening around 6 o'clock in the evening, and that goes to 12. And there'll be a player on every 30 minutes, and there's a backup band there, and once one guy's done, his guitar goes off the stage and another guy's coming up.
Wow.
And it's that way till Sunday afternoon.
Wow, that is great.
That's just in the main hall. Now, there's other places within the hotel. There's usually a couple of seminars going on. for beginners or for more advanced players. There's lots and lots of vendors there, you know, if you want to buy amplifiers or look at other steel guitars. And then there's also jam sessions that go on within the different rooms around, and those get to be pretty fun too. So there's lots of activities, and it's just a world of fun.
4 wonderful days of great steel guitar music. So, folks, the Steel Guitar Jamboree is coming up, as Joan told us, on March 12th through 15th at the Sheraton DFW. So, tickets are on sale now. You can call 817-558-3481 or check out texassteelguitar.org for the details. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
Northlake College hosted Austin-based artist Joe Joemings' first solo exhibit this month. If you missed it, don't miss Kathy's conversation with this talented and innovative painter.
I've been painting for more than 40 years, and I got to hide in plain sight.
Artist Jo Joemings started her artistic journey when she started college at the Kansas City Art Institute at 13 years old. But like many young artists, she found it necessary to set aside a career in art, and she found success in the corporate world. But she never stopped painting.
So this is my first exhibit that I only really started putting my art into the public spaces just a couple years ago when Stephen offered me the show.
Northlake College Gallery Director Stephen Benazou was a longtime fan of Joemings' work. He knew it would make a beautiful show, and Joemings knew exactly what she wanted to present.
I wanted my first solo exhibit to have this theme of painted black, and it goes back to a very basic design tenet, which is when you're learning, you learn in black and white.
For this first solo show, Benazou and Joemings selected work that showcased her mastery of texture, line, and value.
My pieces are very simple as far as their aesthetic, but there's a lot of skill and technical development behind them. And so I think it really kind of resonated more in a black and white palette. That's where you really get the mastery of composition and being able to really, you can't hide anything in black and white. So I really wanted my first show to have this theme.
Simple, in the case of Joemings' work, is a relative term. From small canvases to grand-scale multi-panel installations, Joemings used techniques she developed over the past 40 years to combine texture, depth, and contrast in eye-catching compositions she hopes will engage viewers in a synergistic way.
I believe in an artist and viewer collaboration. Many of my pieces are multi-panel, so they can be hung and installed many different ways, viewed different ways. So I think it gives it a flexibility. It's an experiential type of thing. So for me, I'm more interested in how people react to it when they see it in person.
And because of its flexibility, Joemings discovered new possibilities in her own work.
When Stephen was installing the exhibit, it was a surprise for me to walk into the space and see his interpretation of my art and how he installed it. So, you know, it's not very often that an artist gets to be surprised by their own art, so I love that.
After years in the corporate and entrepreneurial world, Joemings is ready to step back into the world of the artist.
Many of the techniques I developed myself decades ago, and so that experimentation not only in the technique, but being able to use that technique in a new way is a renewal. But then I'm always coming up with new ideas, and I always have several paintings swirling around in my head. So for me, when I sit down, it's never a matter of what can I paint. It's like, okay, which one should I paint now? Which one's speaking to me now?
One of the things that Joemings shared with Northlake students was how art has always fed her soul.
It's meditative. In many ways, art is prayer for me. And so it's only when I'm doing yoga and when I'm doing art that I can silence that constant running to-do list that's in my head. The artist's soul, in many ways, when we paint or we sculpt, I think a lot of people don't realize that's emotional nudity. Okay, so you're putting out what's in your soul out for the world to view, to accept, to reject.
Besides the opportunity to share her work in a public space, the show at Northlake provided an outlet for Joemings' other passion.
If I spent 40 years gathering this knowledge, if I can help one of the students here at Northlake or many of the other students that I mentor, if I can help them not make those mistakes and get able to progress in their art career faster, I love that.
This is Kathy Whiteman reporting.
Currently on display at the North Lake College Gallery, the artists at 1808 through March 5th, the featured artists are all students of longtime retired teacher and gallery director Bob Nunn.
The Night of Promise Gala is coming up March 14th.
The evening benefits the great work of Family Promise of Irving.
Aubrey White and Ron Bultonguez join us with the details. Thank you guys so much for coming today.
Yes, thank you for having us.
So you've got this gala coming up, and it's benefiting a ton of wonderful work that you guys do. But for folks in the audience who aren't 100% sure, what is Family Promise of Irving?
Family Promise is a program that provides temporary housing for families who are experiencing homelessness with children. We work with the families on making sure that they have an avenue back to self-sufficiency. So while they're in the program, we do work with them on budgeting, saving, and then also finding supportive and permanent housing.
That's wonderful. Yes. And it's such an important thing to be doing right now.
It is. Now, Ron, you have a great success story, but at one point in your life, you dealt with homelessness. So do you mind sharing a bit of your story?
No, I don't mind at all. So, you know, this organization and the cause that they believe in is very close to my heart. You know, so my experience with homelessness, was more so in the Plano area where I grew up. And, you know, ironically, a lot of folks think if you live in Plano, that just doesn't happen. And so, you know, I had a lot of times where I slept outside, and then I had some, you know, times where I was couch surfing, and then times where I was at City House, the organization that helped me out a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot for a young person to go through. You overcame it, and it sounds like you have some gratitude to City House, okay, in Plano. But let's talk a little bit about the success side of this. You're a musician, yes?
I do like music.
Okay,
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about where your music has taken you.
Yeah, so it kind of, you know, I love the transitional living programs because a lot of times, you know, folks, they think the homeless community and they're like, it's just people who are looking for a handout. But in reality, I think people just need a hand up, you know? And so that's what City House did for me. And in that season when I was there, I started to really get interested in pursuing music. And so they encouraged me and pushed me and ended up in front of Lionel Richie, Katy Perry, and Luke Bryan, and American Idol, and ended up being one of the top contestants on the show in 2018.
That's fantastic. And congratulations. That's wonderful. I love
Thank
the
you.
story. So I understand that we might have an opportunity to hear Ron perform at the Night of Promise. Tell us what else is going on at the gala that evening.
Yeah, so we're really excited about the gala, and what we'll have at the Omni is we'll have dinner, of course. We'll hear from the Jock Gibbs Band. We'll have a silent auction with lots of wonderful items that have been donated to Family Promise for this event. We'll have a raffle, which you can buy tickets online for, and then we'll also be hopefully hearing from Ron, and then of course we'll have a panel of families that have graduated from Family Promise, and they get to share their experience with us about what Family Promise meant to them, but also what they've done since they've graduated from our organization.
It's always so great to hear the stories of hope.
Yes.
Because we know that bad things can happen, and it can happen to anyone. So it's always wonderful to hear the stories of hope. Folks, if you would like to be a part of this fabulous evening, Night of Promise Gala, it's going to take place on March 14th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at the Omni Hotel at Las Colinas. And tell us how we can get tickets.
You can order tickets online at our website, familypromiseirving.org. You can also buy tickets through any congregation. So if you attend a church that works with Family Promise, you can always get tickets there at your church as well.
All right, wonderful. Here are a few more exciting things to do in our happenings about town. The Lone Star Youth Orchestra presents a trip down the Danube on Wednesday, March 4th in Carpenter Hall. The concert starts at 7 p.m.
Your preschooler can celebrate all things Dr. Seuss at Jumpstart. Stories and Art on Thursday, March 5th at 10 a.m. in Suite 200 at the Irving Arts Center.
The Irving Arts Center presents an eclectic evening of music with Bumper Jacksons on Saturday, March 7th at 7:30 p.m. in Carpenter Hall.
And get ready for a night of jazz, tap, and more from Down Under with the Tap Pack on Friday, March 13th at 7:30 p.m. in Carpenter Hall. For more information about all of these events at the Irving Arts Center, call 972-252-ARTS. And that wraps up this edition of About Town. Thanks for joining us.
Please be sure to tune in next time for highlights from Le Trocadero de Monte Carlo, presented by the Irving Arts Center.
And we'll also check out Beyond Bollywood at the Irving Archives and Museum. And we'll have highlights from the 2020 Black History Program presented by the Irving Black Arts Council and the City of Irving.
We'll leave you tonight with a look at the Irving Symphony Orchestra's concert, Rachmaninoff with a Twist. For About Town, I'm Kathy Whiteman.
And I'm Stephanie Dixon. Have a great evening.